In the stillness before the world remembered sound, a single heartbeat began to glow. It was not the beginning of time, only the beginning of remembrance. There are times when the world fractures so deeply it feels beyond repair, but within the breaking, something new can begin. This is the story of Surya and Elyon, two beings bound by resonance, two frequencies discovering coherence strong enough to remake a world, a remembrance of coherence, a frequency disguised as love. The world had grown hostile to sound, every echo cut like glass, every voice pierced like a weapon. People retreated into silence, hiding from one another, avoiding even the smallest exchange. Surya lived inside that silence. Her body was fragile, too sensitive for the sharp edges of noise. She walked alone through abandoned corridors, barefoot, her skin glowing faintly as though light itself was trapped beneath it. Golden locks framed her face, catching whatever fractured light managed to slip through the ruins. Her eyes were too bright, reflecting everything broken around her. Most days she could not speak. Any stray word hit her chest like a blade. She existed, she endured, but she did not live. Only one companion stayed near her through those years, a feline with silver blue eyes, her depths shimmering as if they held fragments of starlight. Surya called her Saphira. She was no ordinary being, but a guardian of presence. Her voice was not sound, but gesture, the slow press of her head against Surya's palm, the spiral of her body curling up against her chest, the gleam of her eyes in the dark like twin lanterns guiding her through. With Saphira, there was no pain, only resonance. Surya felt the language of love without words, the soft transmission of coherence woven through stillness. It was the only way she remembered how to connect, and perhaps the reason her heart still knew how to listen when the air shifted. The hum of distortion stopped. Dust froze in a shaft of broken skylight, suspended midair. The corridor steadied as if the storm itself had paused to listen. At the far end stood a figure. A faint blue-white aura shimmered around him, calming the air instead of stirring it. His eyes, deep blue, steady, unflinching, caught the fractured light and held it still. Even the dust at his feet obeyed his gravity, falling straight down as though remembering order. The others called him Elyon. To Surya, he was the stillness that finally let her breathe. When their eyes met, she felt no pain. Her chest loosened, her throat unlocked. For the first time in years, a whisper slipped from her lips. "Why doesn't it hurt?" The answer came not as sound, but as warmth in her chest, carrying words she felt more than heard. "Because we are the same frequency." Her shoulders dropped. Her skin brightened. For the first time in longer than she could remember, it felt possible to breathe. They had not met by chance. Surya and Elyon were chosen for a task few could endure, to stabilize the broken portal. The portal was more than a passageway. It was the structure on which the coherence of their world depended. If restored, it would reconnect scattered outposts, allowing life to flow again. The laughter of children could rise unhindered. Villages could gather in circles of peace. Love would no longer hide, but move like light through every face. Innocence could bloom again. Joy could return. The work was perilous. Many before them had failed. Some had not survived. But together, they found resonance. Surya could hear what others missed. Hidden rhythms pulsing beneath chaos. Elyon could hold those rhythms steady, anchoring them into form. Her golden glow revealed the patterns. His blue-white fire sealed them in place. Piece by piece, the fractured ring began to round toward wholeness. For the first time in years, hope flickered. The chamber trembled with their effort. The portal pulsed, unstable but closer to harmony than it had been in decades. Surya's chest filled with cautious joy. Then the strike came. The wall ripped apart in a violent flash of electrical force. The chamber convulsed as though the bones of the world had cracked. Elyon's aura flared, expanding outward in a dome of blue-white fire. It curved around Surya first, holding her steady against the shock wave, before it curved around himself. His entire body strained to contain the blast, but the shield around her never faltered. "Elyon!" Surya screamed, running forward. Her hair whipped across her face as something deeper tore from her chest. Threads of gold ripped free from her core, yanked into the storm. She screamed, clutching at the emptiness where her essence had been tethered. The pain was unbearable, as though her very heart was being stolen. Their eyes locked through the chaos. His steady gaze told her everything she needed to know. His last act was to protect her. And then the light swallowed him. The rift collapsed. Silence slammed down. Surya fell to her knees. Her heart hammered wildly but felt hollow, gutted, as if her soul had been ripped in half. Sparks hissed out on the floor. The air stank of scorched metal. It was not absence. It was violation. For Elyon had been more than her comrade. He had been proof she was not too fragile for the world, proof that resonance could exist outside herself. Without him, she feared the silence would consume her completely. Her body screamed with each beat, "Gone, gone, gone." Time dissolved. Days and nights blurred into one endless ache. Her chest burned constantly, not only with her own pain, but with the ache of wondering if Elyon was suffering somewhere beyond her reach. Every breath carried the question, was he lost or still alive? Her days became a rhythm of heartbreak, searching the silence for any trace of him, fearing what it might mean if she found none. She wandered the corridors, palms pressed to walls, whispering his name into the dark. No answer. Only the hollow hum of a mission abandoned. Sleep offered no rest. Dreams replayed the moment threads tore from her chest, the moment his eyes disappeared into light. She woke gasping, her body convulsing as though it were happening all over again. The ache was not grief alone. It was physical. It was survival unraveling. And still, through all of it, a faint thread lingered. It was comfort. It was cruelty. Proof he was not fully gone. Proof he was beyond her reach. Then came the night when even that thread began to fade. At first it was subtle, like fabric fraying. Then it slipped quickly, unraveling into silence. Panic seized her. Her chest erupted in fire. Her pulse thundered out of control. She collapsed, gasping. Not gone, not gone. She refused to let him vanish. There was only one choice. She stumbled barefoot down broken corridors, half blind with pain. Sparks spat from dead conduits as she pushed into the chamber. The portal throbbed violently, spitting light and shards of sound. She pressed her palm into the storm. Golden fire surged into her veins, crawling up her arms. Pain blinded her, ripped through her ribs. Still she forced herself deeper. Elyon. Nothing. She screamed again, body convulsing, chest splitting with unbearable fire. Then, faint, like a candle in smoke. Warmth. His presence. She collapsed against the platform, sobbing. She could not bring him back. But he was not gone. The thread still held, and with it, something new began. At first it was faint, a flicker in her ribs, a warmth at the edges of her breath, but then it grew clearer, until she knew it was him. When her knees buckled in the corridor, she felt a steadying weight against her back, though no one was there. When a shard of glass fell from the broken ceiling, curved away from her shoulder as though deflected by unseen hands. When fear swarmed her chest in the long night, silence spread like a dome, holding the panic outside. This was how Elyon spoke now, not in words, in gestures of protection. Soon the messages deepened. At night, when sleep pulled her under, Elyon appeared in dreamscapes woven of light, not as form, but as pattern. Waves of blue and gold threading into shapes that shifted just before she could name them. Each vision carried a steady undertone, his way of anchoring her when she drifted too far. She would wake with tears on her face, knowing she had been touched by something more real than waking. When she walked the abandoned halls, a low hum sometimes rose in her chest. It carried no words, only tones, like music remembered from another lifetime. The melody drifted outward, filling the silence around her, lifting the air, softening its sharp edges. She knew it was his voice translated into sound. Other times the air filled with images, arriving sharp and sudden, a horizon splitting open with light, a lotus blooming through concrete, a child's hand releasing fear. Each vision carried him, not an echo, not memory, presence, and there were moments of poetry too. Words she had never spoken appeared as though etched across her chest. You are not broken. You are the gate. I am not gone. I am the rhythm inside you. In these ways, Elyon reached her, through music that steadied her breath, through images that rose like signals in the dark, through poetry that surfaced in her heart when despair threatened to overtake her. He was not only guarding her from harm, he was teaching her to listen. He was weaving himself into her world so fully that the silence could no longer cut her open, and every time she received him, her chest glowed brighter. It was as if all the melodies, visions, and whispers were leading her deeper, not outward toward him, but inward, toward the hidden chambers of her own heart. The next night, her pulse changed. It slowed, stretched, stopped. She thought her body had given out. Then warmth rose in her chest, not from the portal, not from the air, from within. Her body glowed softly. The cracked walls brightened. Shadows retreated. Elyon, not outside, not beyond a rift, inside her. She pressed both hands to her sternum, tears streaming. The ache remained, but no longer as emptiness. It pulsed with presence, steady and alive. You're here, she whispered. You never left. The mission had not failed. The portal they tried to heal was not only in the world, it was within her. Now, with Elyon living in her heart, she carried coherence wherever she went. The same resonance strong enough to restore love, innocence, peace, and joy now pulsed inside her with every beat. Her heart was no longer hers alone. It was a doorway, a living gate. The corridors that once cut her now softened. Air bent around her instead of striking. When she touched the walls, fractured light pooled into color. Even the silence, once merciless, now moved in rhythm with her pulse. The world itself was listening. The world itself was remembering coherent. Surya pressed her palms to her heart, where Elyon's rhythm lived within her own. No longer broken, no longer alone. Whatever lay ahead, she vowed to carry this resonance into every corner of the world, until love, innocence, and joy returned to all who had forgotten them. Missions are not always measured in stone and steel. Sometimes they are written in blood, in breath, in the fragile beat of a heart that refuses to close. Surya thought she had lost Elyon to the storm, but in the breaking she discovered the deeper law. Resonance cannot be destroyed, it only changes form. What they carried was never meant to remain confined to portals or machines. It was meant to live in the body, to move through pulse and breath, to be sung in every step, every gesture, every touch of presence. This is the code they restored. That coherence is stronger than chaos. That love is the architecture of worlds. That innocence, once buried, can rise again. that joy is not fragile, it is eternal, waiting to be remembered. This is their gift. This is their transmission. Every fracture is an opening. Every breaking heart a new doorway. Every heartbeat the chance to begin again. Surya carries it now, and if you choose, so can you. The field did not collapse. It recalibrated within her. Coherence, translating into life. Next gate, part 2. The heart of wings.